So welcome back to the SWAU's official channel. I'm Bryan, your host, and this is a conversation with the stars. And what a star we've got. She's an actress, writer, and director, and she's currently starring, set to be released from the March the 6th. It's Dolly. It's Fabianne Therese. Hello, welcome to the show, Fabianne.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
And I've got to say, seeing you now on camera after seeing this film, I'm so glad to see you in one piece and everything's fine and you seem very happy because I am not a horror fan normally. I like my supernaturals, like sort of, exorcisms and everything like that. And I've never really got into the more graphic sort of horror films. So not only did I watch this film, but I've got a deep fear of dolls, of actual porcelain dolls, ever since I was a child. So going into this film, I thought to myself, what am I getting myself into? And what a journey this is. I'm safe to say we probably could talk about the whole plot and it still wouldn't ruin it for people because you've got to see it to believe it and witness it. So first of all, what attracted you to this film? What was it about this role that made you think, do you know what? I need to go for this.
Well, I've done a handful of genre films before. It's not my first rodeo in this world, and they're really fun to do because you get to go to these like extremes that just like logically don't make any sense in a normal movie. And so they end up becoming quite like a bonding experience and a fun time just in the nature of doing horror. But this one specifically, I mean, when I read it, I was like, this is by far the most extreme film I've ever auditioned for, I've ever read for. And I also have a fear of dolls, and I specifically have a fear of adult babies, which is very rare. But like, like in Halloween when adults dress in like a diaper and they carry around, it freaks me out. And Chucky freaks me out.
Yeah.
Even the baby in like Roger Rabbit really freaks me out.
Really?
I don't know.
With the cigar? What?
I can't stand it. It like gives me the heebie-jeebies. And so I just thought like it could be a fun way to face my fear.
And what a way you definitely went feet first. I mean, if you had to describe this film to someone, because I was trying to describe it the other day and I find it difficult because there's so much going on. I mean, how would you describe it to someone maybe wanting to watch a great film that's going to literally make them, think about it for quite a few days afterwards?
I mean, I think in its simplest, most basic form, it feels almost like a fable kind of too, the way that it's shot. But it's about this creature, this doll creature who finds a girl in the woods and takes her home to make her into her baby doll, because we all have mommy issues and she has her own. So she is trying to play out this thing with this girl she finds in the woods. And obviously the girl does not want to be there.
I mean, what's exciting about this film, it gives me the sense that we may have found our new Mike Myers or Jason, and there is going to be a lot more from this sort of, franchise. And I can't wait. And I've got Rod. I'm speaking to Rod, the director, in a couple of days. So I'm going to get more into that with him when I speak to him. But for you, I mean, how demanding was this role for you? Because watching it, I was worn out. The way it was filmed, it was very much I was there and I couldn't do anything about it. But how worn out were you after shooting day after day? Because what we see on screen is just incredible.
Thank you so much. It's probably the physically hardest film I've ever made. I come from doing theater, so I have stamina. Like you have to have a lot of stamina to go through the whole progression of a play day after day after day, sometimes 2 times a day for a matinee show and then an end show. So I I can do it, but this was hard. It was like we were getting chewed alive by mosquitoes. There would be snakes in the woods sometimes, poison, don't even like the poison ivy. I was having to go to the doctor to get cortisone shots sometimes before set because of
Wow.
how crazy my rashes were. We were having to cover them up with makeup. Um, I had an incredible stunt double, but a lot of the stuff I also did myself. And it was very physically difficult. But Max is also who plays Dolly. Max is a professional wrestler, and they really understood how to balance out a lot of our physical interaction in a way that kept me safe, and I felt very safe with them. And I'm kind of like I can go 100 without even being asked. So it was a good pairing to actually have me being the one that's like, all right, let's do it, and then Max being like, no, we're going to do it like this, and Corey, our stunt coordinator, really made sure that everything was safe. But yeah, to answer your question, I needed a vacation afterwards.
Yeah, I bet. And when you're performing in a film like this, it must be very easy, as you mentioned, to go 100 miles per hour. But what I loved was the fact that there were scenes where you literally toned it down, and it was sort of like you went from, I don't know, panicky, you could scream to you. I don't know how to describe it. It was like you brought us in more as an audience member. And I mean, was that on purpose? Am I getting myself across correctly? Because it's sort of like watching this film. It's not a typical film that I would normally watch. So I'm literally completely perplexed by everything about this film on so many levels. But from an acting point of view, I just liked how you weren't this typical sort of screen queen where you're running around, yelling and screaming. There are moments where you just calm it right down, and it makes even more of an impact than actually screaming. I mean, was that something in the script, or is that something that you brought to the screen?
Thank you so much. Also, I appreciate that feedback and that you appreciated that. I think that it was a combination. When I had my first meeting with Rod, I talked about a lot of the concerns that I had with the script, and that was one of them. I've done stuff before, especially early on in my career, where like because I can cry, the director will just have me cry in every scene, or uh, and I was like, this is such a. I wanted to make sure that there were levels, that there's like, I really believe that in the thing that makes a film feel cohesive is the tone and the rhythm and the tone of the movie. And I wanted to find what that was for my character in a way that allowed her to be more than just the damsel in distress.
Mm.
And so I really worked on that hard. And I think that Rod was very open and grateful that that's what I wanted to bring to Macy. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a
I also
scene?
wanted to feel like also there's a beauty in it, because if you watch it, there's this villain character, right? There's Max who plays Dolly, but there's also empathy. There's kind of hurt people. There's a reason behind why everyone's doing the things that they're doing, that we hoped that there would be an element of nuance that comes through that, which is also what I think is kind of incredible about having like a female masked villain, which we don't really have in the horror space in the same
No,
way.
no, and it comes across incredible. I mean, have you got a scene that you're most proud of? Because there are some incredible scenes there, like in the way of like you shooting it to how it came out on the screen.
I mean, I'm proud of so many different moments, but I will say one of the ones on set that was really, really great and also funny was my scene with Seann which I don't know if it's hard to give it away, but we have a scene together where it's very emotional, and we were both crying and very, very connected and having this like really intense moment. But he has there's a special effect that you will see that made it really also funny to be doing the scene. And Seann told me that I was the first actor he's ever worked with that made him cry just by being in a scene with him, which I felt very proud of.
That is incredible. No, I was going to say that Seann in this is also incredible. And he's such an amazing actor. And that scene, I've got to say, I mean, the makeup, the special effects and the visual effects in this film is astonishing. And I'm the type of person that I'm always looking to see how they've done it. And honestly, with this film, it's literally left me with so many questions to ask. I mean, what was it like to work with Seann? Because he's such a great guy. I mean, take away his role in American Pie, which I think they will never get away from, but he's done so many other amazing projects. What is he like to work with? And would you like to work with him again?
Seann is, I would say, the equivalent of if a golden retriever became a human being. I don't know that I have ever worked with somebody who is so kind and joyful and happy and just like eager and full of energy in this way that I think we really needed on set, because we had been shooting so many really kind of fucked up scenes before he showed up. And then he brought this like lightness. He I don't know that you will ever meet someone that has one bad word to say about him. He is the funniest, kindest sweetheart. And I had so much fun working with him. I would work with him in a heartbeat anytime.
Awesome. And then this film, it does get to a point where you think surely it can't go any further. Do you know, in the way of what's going to happen on screen? And I've got a picture of you there with Dolly. There you go. You look like you've just opened up the best present of your life. And but I mean, was there a point where you thought that actually surely it can't go any further? You know, because it is very shock and awe in places, and things happen that you wouldn't even expect. I mean, there were, you know, I'm just going to mention, a feeding chair, a kid's feeding chair, and the time in that moment, I really did not expect, and that really shocked me and disturbed me on so many levels. Did you think that when you were filming it, that wow, this is going to really shock the audience?
When I was reading the script, I truly, every page, when I first read it, every page I would turn, I'd be like, what? Okay, that must be the craziest thing in the script. And then I turn the page and then I'm like, what? That must be the crazy. And so, yeah, I had that experience in the beginning. But it was really fun to shoot it knowing that, because in the horror world, there's a certain pride in, you know, somebody walks out of the theater because they can't handle it, or if you make somebody feel nauseous. And we had an LA screening at a festival, and one of my friends that came with me, she was like, I have to go middle of the screening. There were some people who couldn't handle it, but that's also part of the fun. And it's the effects are pretty much all practical, which I really love. It's like gives it a real old school feel to it. It's like when Werner Herzog was doing the Mandalorian series, like he used all practical effects for the baby, for all, and it adds just such a different element. And so I think that it's scary, but there's also comedy in it. There's really, you get rewarded for sticking through all of the shock by the end, I think.
And definitely where the scene I'm talking about, I was eating a bowl of cereal, and I soon stopped when I was watching that scene because it did put me off my cereal. So I will think of milk in another way now. I mean, then we talk about how collaborative the team was because this isn't like a massive budget movie, and I often find that the lower budget movies are often the best ones because they've got more heart and more soul to them. So how collaborative was Rod Blackhurst, the director, with how much room he gave you in performance? Was he quite willing to let you do your own thing, or was it quite a close relationship that you had?
Rod was very collaborative. I think we had a lot of discussions before going into it. And then on set, I think he's a person. Part of the reason why I really wanted to do this job is because I am friends with and have the same manager as this actor, Scoot McNeary. And Scoot had done a movie with Rod before, and I called Scoot and I talked to him and I asked him what the experience was like. And he just said, like, this man has a team that loves him so much. And part of the fun of making a movie with him is how collaborative and supportive this entire team is and how much they go to bat for him. And I saw that. Like, there were people who were working on, like, The Bear, on other projects that just left to come work on this. And Rod trusts all of them to be able to do their job he hires them to do their job. So everybody involved really got to flex their creative muscles, and I was no exception. I got to bring my own choices, my own things that I wanted to explore to the table, and he allowed all of it. Yeah, very collaborative.
And then, with being a director as Rod is there a piece of direction that he gave you that you thought actually elevated your performance, or was there like a strange piece of direction that you got that you didn't expect to get?
I will say that he has a beautiful balance of, he can give just like practical direction of what's necessary in a scene, especially because we were shooting on film and we didn't have that many takes. But also, and I won't, they're personal stories of his, so I won't share them, but he was able at certain moments to be incredibly vulnerable as just a human being, to share certain reasonings behind some of the choices in this when I had questions, and that are actually way more personal than you might expect from a movie like this. So yeah, there were a couple of moments where like I hit a bump that was a little hard for me to figure out. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to tell you what the backstory is here. And it was very vulnerable and trusting to do that with me and helped me in.
Which is really nice to hear, because you hear so many nightmare directors out there that are not very nice, that, are shouting at actors or just horrid to work for. So it's really nice to hear when you have such a supportive and collaborative director.
He personally got me like a membership to this. They have in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where we shot, they have this type of almost like a Soho house. I forget what it's called exactly, but they have a pool and they have a really nice gym, and you could just go relax there or have a nice bite. And to like counteract how intense the shooting was, he got me this membership so that I could go chill there. And like he was so thoughtful in a million and one ways.
To be fair, what he's put you through on this film, I think you deserve a relaxation and a bit of by the pool and a bit of a sauna and just get your mind off things. I mean, this film has gone on to do some festivals and the feedback has been incredible. Has there been any sort of fan interactions that you can remember that will always stay with you, or any reactions that you were so proud to hear?
Yes. It's been I do a lot of different things, like you mentioned in the beginning. I direct, I act, I do theater, and I kind of move between these worlds. So it's been a second since I've done a horror film, and I really missed my like genre family, and they are so supportive, so encouraging and loyal. And I have gotten a lot of messages from people who were fans of my work from stuff that I've done in the past, who were just like, we're so happy to see you back again. Like, we've missed you. And that's been incredibly meaningful. And then also just everybody that loves the movie. It was, when we premiered, we're a small budget film. We didn't have any distribution at the time, and we're premiering opposite like all studio films pretty much. And so to have gotten such a great reception, and for people to have connected with my character, it means the absolute world to me. Yeah.
And do you think that we will see your character again? In the future, or would you like to maybe? Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, whatever goes. But would you like to continue this story with Rod? I mean, is that something that's been spoken about?
I mean, the joke that I have is that it's my favorite buddy comedy that I've ever shot. I cannot tell you how much I love working with Max. We have so much love and care for one another, and so much chemistry. I would be honored to be in the canon of this world for as long as they'll have me.
I mean, I was watching a bit of Max in action in the wrestling world, because I wasn't familiar with the character of Maxi Impaler. How terrifying. How terrifying. So they often say that people that are that terrifying on stage and in their character, they're completely the opposite in real life. And I hope you're going to say that they are really nice in real life.
So, so, so wonderful. So nice. So nice. And we got to watch them in action too. They had a match in I forget what it was, but like Knoxville, Tennessee. And so the whole crew drove up, and we got to watch this like wrestling match in action. It was really fun and amazing.
That is awesome. And what would you like audiences to take away from this film? Obviously, a deep phobia of dolls is probably going to be the first thing. But what would you like them to take away from your character and this film in general?
Well, I think that, there's themes of motherhood. There's themes of family. There's themes of like what it is, like what you're living for and what you're fighting for and what you're trying to stay around for, that through all of the shock and stuff do come out. And I think that I would love for people to take away this idea of all of these characters as maybe not being so black and white, so binary, that there are multitudes and reasonings behind all of this that make you curious to see how their relationship, their cat and mouse experience progresses. And, that you can be a badass even in a doll dress.
Do you know what, though? Villains for me has always been the most interesting, because they're a lot more complex. They've got, more of a backstory. And would it be a perfect world if your character and Dolly ended up friends? Do you know, like sort of that connection? Because obviously the mother and the daughter sort of connection, but then having like sort of a soft spot for you. And that could be, it's a bit like, Halloween. It's a bit like Mike Myers and sort of that relationship. Could this be the next, Halloween?
I do think that there is like a need that develops in both of them by the end of the film that I can see growing. I also, what I love about Macy is that she really does have this, my character, she has this transformation. And by the end of it, so much has happened that she could very well be in her villain era. You know what I mean? Like we might be seeing the beginning of a person who's changed uh, because of this experience. So I could see them continuing this.
Oh, it's anybody's guess, but everyone needs to watch it on the 6th of March. Fabianne, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and I'm glad to say that you're okay. You're in one piece, because I was traumatized by the end of it. I didn't even show my wife the film because she would absolutely, anything like that. I mean, she doesn't like, and they say it's weird though, because even though I was disturbed by the majority of the film, I really enjoyed it. So what does that say about me? Because apparently, they say that people that watch horror movies and enjoy them are secretly psychopaths. Is that true? Or is that someone that just wants to watch something out of their comfort zone?
I mean, I'm sure we're all a little secretly psychopathic.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. But no, I cannot wait for what is yet to come. Are you working on anything at the moment, or is it a case of putting your feet up and enjoying the release of this film?
Yeah, I worked on another film last year called Lake Travis, which is a very different vibe. It's like a four-hander about four siblings that go to their family home after the loss of their father, and it's more of like a comedic drama piece that is in post right now. Very proud of that. And then I'm working on my own projects. I'm writing and working on a few things that I hope to get on their feet this year. Yeah,
Wow.
I stay very busy.
Yeah, and it can't be easy either, because this industry can be very, very hard for funding and to get anything off the ground. So to get anything off is an achievement in itself, and I cannot wait to watch everything that you do in the future, because you've got a new fan now, and this film is incredible, and I cannot wait to watch the rest that you do. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. What a pleasure.